Welcome to Bethel Online Education Hub. Learn anytime, anywhere. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Let's learn together, the Bethel way.
Okay, good day everyone, and welcome to our new topic in Earth and Life Science. Today, we will explore how genes work, the tiny but powerful units of heredity, often called the blueprints of life. Genes carry the instruction that determine how living organisms grow, develop, and functions. Found within DNA. They influence traits we inherit, such as eye color, height, and even our health. But genes are more than just inherited codes. They act as dynamic unit of informations that guide cells to produce proteins, which are essential molecules responsible for most of the body's functions. By understanding how genes are structured, how they express themselves, and how they change, we gain a clear picture of the processes that makes life possible. As we move through this topic, we will see how scientists from the earliest day of the bead theory to the modern molecular genetics have, have uncovered the complex nature of genes. Learning about how genes work not only explains heredity, but also open doors to medicine, biotechnology, and a deeper understanding of life itself. So first, let's identify what is genes. A genes is a fundamental molecular unit of heredity found in all living organisms. It is made up of specific sequence of DNA that contains the instructions needed for the growth, development, functioning, and reproduction of every organism. Genes act like a biological code or set of directions, guiding the cells in producing proteins and other molecules that carry out vital processes. Each gene carries all the information required to build and maintain a cells, ensuring that organism can survive and perform its functions properly. Beyond this, genes are also responsible for passing or inherited characteristics, such as physical traits, behaviors, or even susceptibility to certain disease from one generation to the next. In this way, genes serve as the link between parents and offspring, making sure that life continues with both continuity and variation. Now let's talk about how does genes work. Genes work through the process called the central dogma of molecular biology. The central dogma of molecular biology explains how genetic information flows inside a cell. It describes step-by-step process of how the instructions is stored in DNA are used to produce proteins which are essentials for life. First is replication. Replication makes an exact copy of itself. It ensures that when a cell divides, each new cells receive the same set of genetic instructions. Next is the transcription. The information in DNA is copied into a messenger molecule called mRNA. Think of mRNA as a working copy of gene that can lead the molecules and carry instructions to the other parts of the cell. Last is the translation. The mRNA is read by the ribosomes to build a protein. Proteins are made of amino acids and they carry out most of the body's functions, from building cells, structure, to regulating chemical reaction. In short, DNA stores genetic blueprint. RNA serve as the messenger, and proteins are the final product that determines trait and functions of an organism. Genes are responsible for observable traits like eye color, hair texture, blood type, and also for hidden functions like producing enzymes, regulating hormones, or controlling cell divisions. Variation or mutation in genes can lead to difference in traits or, in some cases, to genetic disorder. In 1940s, scientists George Biddle and Edward Tatum conducted experiments with the bead mold called Neurophora crassa. They wanted to understand the link between genes and enzymes. At that time, it was known that genes controlled traits, but how genes did this was still a mystery. Biddle and Tatum exposed neurospora spores to X-ray, which cause mutation. Some muted spores could no longer grow on minimal medium. However, when specific nutrients were added, the mold could grow again. This showed that the mutation affect the production of one enzyme necessary to make that nutrients. From, from their findings, Biddle and Tatum proposed the one gene, one enzyme hypothesis. Each genes control the production of single enzymes, and each enzymes control one specific steps in a metabolic pathway. Examples: in the pathway to make the amino acids arginine, a, a mutation is one gene will block a single enzyme, stopping arginine productions. Importance of the later refinement. This was the first direct evidence that genes act by controlling biochemical reactions inside cells. Later discoveries refined the hypothesis. Not all proteins are enzymes. Some are structural like keratin. Many proteins are made of multiple polypeptides, each coded by a different gene. Thus, the modern view in one gene, one polypeptide hypothesis, the one gene, one enzyme hypothesis showed that genes work by producing enzymes, which each gene is responsible for the one enzymes that control a specific steps in a metabolic pathways. Biddle and Tatum's work lays the foundation of modern molecular biology and deepen our understanding on how genes determine traits. Now, let's talk about the gene-protein relationship. 1. Gene as instruction. A gene is a sequence of DNA that contains coded instruction for, for making a protein. The letters of the DNA code A, T, G, and C determine the sequence of amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. The flow of information from gene to protein happens in two main steps. The first step is the transcription. Inside the nucleus, the DNA code of a gene is copied into a messenger RNA molecules. mRNA acts like a portable copy of instructions. Next is the translations. The mRNA travels to the ribosomes, and ribosomes read the mRNA code in sets of three bases. Each codons corresponds to the specific amino acids, and amino acids are linked together in the right order to form a polypeptide chain, which folds into functional proteins. Next is the proteins as functional products. Proteins are the final products of genes expression. They perform countless roles in the body. First is the structural. Collagen, keratin, like hair, skin, and nails. Next is the enzymatic. It speeds up chemical reactions. Next is transport. Hemoglobin carries oxygen and defense. Antibodies fight infections. And last is the regulations. Hormones like insulin. Gene-protein relationships. Genes are segments of DNA that carry the instructions for building proteins. They are written in a sequence of nucleotides, which act like code message. Next is the linear sequence of amino acids. Through the central dogma of molecular biology, the nucleotide sequence of gene is transcribed into messenger RNA. Next is the enzymes. Some proteins produced from genes act as enzymes. Enzymes are biological catalysts that speed up chemical reactions inside the cell. Next is the phenotype of the cells. The protein produced in the cells directly determine its phenotype. That is the observable traits of the cellular level. Next is the structural proteins. Not all proteins are enzymes. Some are structural proteins that give shape and support to the cell's tissues. And next is the characteristic of features of organisms. The combined actions of enzymes and structural protein and regulatory proteins results in the characteristic features we see in the whole organism. For example, the gene of the hemoglobin determines oxygen carrying ability in the red blood cells or cell phenotype. This contributes the organism's overall ability to survive and adapt. Now let's talk about the protein structure. First is the primary structure, the linear sequence of amino acids in polypeptide chain. It held together by peptide bonds. Examples: a string of beads, where each bead is a amino acids. Secondary structure: local folding of the polypeptide chain into regular patterns. Common structures is the alpha helix or the spiral shape, and beta pleated sheet, folded sheet-like structures stabilized by hydrogen bonds. Tertiary structure: the overall 3D shape of a single polypeptide results from interactions between R groups of amino acids, and it determines the protein's functions. The last is the quaternary structure, the 3D arrangement of multiple polypeptides subunits coming together to form a functional protein. Not all proteins have this level. Examples: hemoglobin. Now let's talk about the protein motifs. A protein motifs is a recurring pattern of secondary structures, such as a helix and B sheets, that appear in many different proteins. Motifs are like structural themes that proteins reuse. They often have specific functions. Examples: binding DNA, stabilizing structure, or interacting with other molecules. Think of motifs as a short functional designs built from combination of helixes and sheets. Next is formation. Motifs are formed when several elements of secondary structures combine in a specific arrangement. Unlike tertiary structure, motifs are smaller, recurring substructures. Common examples of protein motifs. First is the helix turn helix. A two helix joined by a short turn, commonly found in DNA binding protein. Next is the beta alpha beta. A B strand followed by a helix, then another B strand stabilized enzymes active sites. Next is the beta hairpin. A two strands connected A two B strands connected by a tight loop, forming a hairpin shape. Next is the leucine zipper, a motif where leucine residues align to form a zipper-like interactions found in a transcription factors. Next is the structural role. They help proteins fold into stable 3D structures. Next is the functional role. Many motifs are directly linked to protein functions. Examples: DNA recognitions, enzymes activity, and molecular bonding. Next is the evolutionary role. The same motifs appears in different proteins, showing the life reuse efficient design. Protein motifs are recurring combination of secondary structures that form recognizable pattern. They provide stability, functionality, and many are shared across unrelated proteins. Now let's talk about the relationship between gene mutation and altered proteins. How genes and proteins are linked. Genes are made of DNA, and each genes provide the instructions for making specific protein. A change in a DNA sequence can alter the sequence of amino acids in the protein. Since the structure of a protein determines its functions, even a single amino acid change can significantly affect how the proteins work. In 1957, Vermont Ingram studied that protein hemoglobin, the, the globular protein in a red blood cells that transport oxygen. Hemoglobin is made of four polypeptide chains, two identical chains, and two identical beta chains. Ingrams discovered that in sickle cell disease, a single amino acid substitution occurs. In the beta chains, the hemoglobin, the amino acid glutamic acid is replaced by valine at position 6. This tiny change alter hemoglobin structures, causing red blood cells to become sickle shaped instead of round. Ingram's work demonstrates that a single gene mutation change one amino acids, alters protein structure, lead to a different functions. This was groundbreaking because it showed that the direct link between DNA, protein, and disease. This discovery provides the first molecular explanations of genetic disease. It highlights how mutation cause genetic disorder. By changing the structure and functions of protein, today's this principle helps scientists understand how genes or many genes conditions beyond sickle cell anemia. Bernard Ingram's study of hemoglobin in 1957 provide a single amino acid change caused by a gene mutation can drastically alter a protein's structure and functions. In sickle cell disease, just one substitution in the hemoglobin beta chain cause serious health effects health effects, showing the powerful connection between genes, proteins, and traits. Genes and cellular metabolisms. What is cellular metabolisms? Metabolisms is the sum of all chemical reactions that occur in a cells to sustain life. It includes catabolism, breaking down molecules to release energy, and anabolism, building new molecules needed for growth, repair, and functions. Genes carry the instructions for making enzymes and proteins, which, which are the key worker of metabolism. Without enzymes, metabolic reactions will be too slow to support life. Each step in metabolic pathways is controlled by specific enzymes, and each enzyme is coded by a gene. Example, the gene that codes for the enzymes hexokinase ensures glucose can be phos- phosphorylated at the start of glycolysis. A mutation in the gene could disrupt the entire pathway, affecting energy productions. Genes not only produce enzymes, but also regulate when and how much of those enzymes are made. This allows the cells to adjust metabolism depending on nutrient availability, energy demand, environmental change. If a gene that codes for metabolic enzymes is mutate, the pathway may be blocked or inefficient. This can lead to a metabolic disorder. For example, phenylketonuria, caused by a mutation in a gene coding for enzymes. The body cannot properly metabolize the amino acids, leading to toxic buildup. Genes and cellular metabolisms are tightly connected. Genes encode the enzymes and proteins that drive metabolic pathways, regulate energy flow, and maintain homeostasis. A mutation in just one gene can alter a single enzyme, disrupting an entire pathway and leading to disease. Now, let's talk about the genetic pine structure. Before 1950s, genes were thought of as indivisible bits on a string chromosomes. Its structure, a gene was indivisible by crossing over. Recombination was believed to happen between genes and never within them. Functions, a gene was fundamental unit of functions. Part of a gene could not work independently. Next is change. A gene was considered the basic unit of mutation. It could change from one form to another, but it was thought to have no smaller changeable parts. Next is the Seymour-Benser's work. In, in the 1950s, Seymour-Benser studied the T4 bacteriophage virus that infects bacteria, especially using the R2 locus. He developed new genetic techniques that could detect very fine recombination events at an extremely small scale. Benzer discoveries Benzer fine structure analysis of genes destroyed the big theory. The units of fine structure. Benzer works. The gene could now be described in terms of three fine structure units. Now let's talk about the life cycle of bacteriophage T4. Attachment and injection. T4 attached to the surface of E. coli and injects its DNA to bacteria cells. Replication. Viral DNA takes over the host, making new phage DNA and proteins. Assembly. New virus particles are assembled inside the bacterium. Next is the lysis. The bacterium bursts, releasing hundreds of new phage. This past life cycle made T4 an ideal system for genetic experiments. Next is the plaque morphology and R2 system. When T4 infects E. coli, it creates plaques on bacteria alone. Mutation in the R2 locus of T4 cause distinct plaque morphology. Wild type phage is makes normal plaques, and R2 mutants cannot infect certain strains of E. coli, leading to altered or missing plaques. This made mutations easy to observe visually. Next is the selection in genetic crosses. Benzer crossed different R2 mutants. Sometimes recombination between two defective mutants restored a functional phage. This demonstrates that recombination could occur within a single gene, not just between genes. Next is the deletion mapping. Benzer used deletion mutants to map genes in details. If a point mutation lay within the delete region, no recombination could restore functions. By systematically testing, he mapped the fine structure of the R2 gene, locating mutation with incredible precision. As we end today's lesson, we can clearly see how genes, this tiny sequence of DNA, carry a powerful role in shaping life, from storing instructions to guiding the productions of proteins. This influences everything from the smallest cells process to the traits we observe in ourselves and other organisms. We also learned how mutations, though sometimes harmful, provide variation that fuel both diversity and scientific discovery. The work of scientists like Biddle, Tatum, Ingram, and Benzer shows us the study of genes is not only about understanding heredity, but also about unlocking the mysteries of health, disease, and life itself. So, as you move forward, remember this. Genes may be microscopic, but their is enormous. They are the foundation of heredity, the the drivers of metabolism, and the key to understanding what makes us we are. Thank you for joining today's lessons, and may this knowledge inspires you to appreciate the complexity and beauty of life at the molecular level.